All right, thank you for staying with us. We'll now link up with Eshomo Moimodu and TJ Adeoye in our Abuja studio to have the conversation around the demands being made by the State's Assembly that the governor present the budget, the 2025 appropriation budget, before them in 48 hours. Good morning, Eshomo. Good morning, TJ. How are you guys doing today?
Good morning, Veronica. Good morning, Etoma and Ibrahim.
Good morning to you all.
Good morning.
You can this morning.
Great.
Okay. I think we should go on with the show now. Now, thanks for joining us on this segment of the program. And the Rivers State House of Assembly has given Governor Sim Fubara 48 hours to present the 2025 budget to the lawmakers. And the lawmakers' resolution was agreed on during plenary in Port Harcourt on Monday. Governor Fubara had on January 2 signed a 1.1 trillion naira 2025 budget into law after presenting it to the Victor Okojumbo-led lawmakers. However, last week there was a twist to the entire story as the Supreme Court ordered Martin Amawele and the group of lawmakers he is leading to resume sitting as legitimate members of the Rivers State House of Assembly. Now, that move ended months of tussle over the leadership of the Rivers State House of Assembly, with two sets of lawmakers laying claim to the legislative body.
Now, in their first sitting after the historic judgment, the Rivers State Assembly asked Governor Fubara to present the bill he had christened Budget of Inclusive Growth and Development. The Supreme Court had also ordered the Central Bank of Nigeria to withhold allocations for Rivers until it purges itself of what the court describes as flagrant disobedience to court orders. The court also nullified the local government election in Rivers State, which was conducted last year. Following the verdict, Governor Fubara ordered fresh council polls for the state, priming to obey the judgment of the Apex Court. He asked the outgoing local government chairman to formally hand over power to the heads of local government administration by Monday, the 3rd of March 2025. And for more on this political turbulence in Rivers State, let's speak with a lawyer, Chetam Nwala, who joins us live via Zoom. Chetam, it's good to have you join us this morning on The Breakfast Show. Chetam.
Yes, good morning, and thank you for having me.
Good morning. It's good to have you. Well, let's begin this way. It's 48 hours for Governor Fubara to represent the budget to the recognized House of Assembly. Is this ultimatum too short? Would you say it's too short and an attempt to stampede, the governor?
Okay. First of all, I want to make something clear to everyone so that we understand where we're coming from and where we're headed to at this particular point. There has been a judgment asking the governor had previously presented the budget to a three-man House Assembly, which the Supreme Court has said it is wrong for him to have done that. And I've asked him to go back and represent the budget to the Martin Amawele-led Assembly at this point, and which the governor on his own has also accepted, or which the governor will comply with from what he has stated. Now, to that particular effect, the House of Assembly giving the governor an ultimatum of 48 hours. For me, I do not think that it is proper to have started with that, giving the governor an ultimatum of 48 hours, because the Supreme Court judgment is a judgment that ought to be obeyed by the governor. It is not a suggestion to the governor. The governor has to obey the Supreme Court judgment, as it were. Going ahead to give him an ultimatum on when to obey the Supreme Court judgment, I think is a little bit too hasty in that particular regard, because whether you like it or not, and again, we also have another challenge. And what is that challenge? The challenge of the CTC of the judgment of the Supreme Court. Now, remember that we do not have the CTC of the judgment of the Supreme Court in circulation as at today. We do not have that CTC in circulation as of today. So it also makes it a little bit difficult for especially public analysts like us, and also it also makes it a little bit difficult for its implementation. And that's why I have said that rather than try to complicate issues like it is looking right now, it is important that the governor is given a bit of time, because 48 hours for me, if you ask me, is short. Even if there is also another argument that the budget he had presented to the previous assembly seemed to be handy. And if that budget is handy, what he just needs to do is to dust the budget and go back and represent it before the Matamewule-led assembly. It doesn't take anything. Unless there are other issues within the said budget that is making him act the way he is acting, or asking for more time. And if we are the State Assembly has given the governor 48 hours ultimatum, it is also within the right of the governor to say, okay, you've given me 48 hours ultimatum. Please give me more time. I need more time to deal with these issues, to put these things together and come back and represent this budget before you. This is what we expect at this point in Rivers State. And this ultimatum and counter-ultimatum and innuendos we see flying left, right, and center and all that, it's not, for me, it's not in the best interest of our state at this point. We have to have a working system whereby things should be done the way they ought to be done. The judgment came in on Friday. By Monday, we're having an ultimatum. It is, for me, it's a little bit too hasty, and I think that the assembly should be able to give the governor some time to put his house together and to represent the budget before them. And the governor on his own part, it is also important that the governor on his own part does what he already has, but there's a presumption that the budget...
All right, Barrister. Barrister Chetam, can you hear me? Okay, I was just about... Okay, Barrister Chetam, if you can hear me. Okay, can you hear me?
It is already in existence.
Okay. Sorry, let me just come with my question, Barrister. Yeah, okay, let me come with my question. Now, I think it might not be too healthy for us to assume that it was the lawmakers are hasty in giving ultimatum. Now, this is a state in crisis. According to the Supreme Court, there's never been governance. And because this budget was already in place, it's been prepared, so it's not a new budget you're bringing. So why will it take time for the governor to present this same budget that the work has been concluded? Present it to these people. Now, if you need time, I think, wouldn't it be right if the governor and the lawmakers also play mature, and governor will ask, okay, give me more time than to be quiet, and we start reading, meaning that, no, these guys are too hasty in asking for ultimatum. The state will need to move forward, don't you think so?
I agree with you. That's why before now, even when the judgment came up, we have come up with the statement that, see, it is time for the leadership of the House of Assembly and some members of the Rivers State Executive Council to sit down and work out a possible solution to resolving these issues. That is what some of us had expected, because Rivers State has to move forward. Rivers State is beyond both Governor Fubara, James Owike, and even Matamewule. It's bigger than the three of them, and they cannot actually hold us to standstill at this particular point. They can't hold on to standstill, and that's why we are thinking that by now that there should be a meeting where they would come up with an understanding on how to go about this thing, so we will not plunge ourselves into another crisis, as it were. Now, Supreme Court judgment, like I said, it's supposed to be obeyed, and I have also stated that there is a presumption that there is a Rivers State budget already in existence. So all you just need to do is to pick up the budget, dust it, go back to the House of Assembly as instructed by the Supreme Court to make that presentation. Now, I would have expected, why I said it's a little bit too hasty is this. I would have expected the House of Assembly to have said, okay, to have relaxed a bit and waited for him to implement the Supreme Court's judgment. Maybe give him a week to implement that Supreme Court judgment. Maybe they are still trying to retype it or do one thing. Just give him that benefit of doubt, per se. Before you now come up to bring that ultimatum you have brought. That's why I'm of the opinion that I think the ultimatum is a little bit too hasty. And that the governor should have been given some time
Chetam,
to come back and represent that budget before them. But the point is that the governor does not have an option. The only option the governor has is to represent the budget before the Matamewule-led assembly.
Exactly.
Nobody is taking that away. He will still come back to you because he doesn't have an option. So why are we in a hurry?
All right, we'll come back to you shortly because I have a question I need to put to you, but we'll take this quick commercial break now. Don't go anywhere, we still have more for you on the program. Stay with us, we'll be right back.
Life is politics. In Nigeria, almost every part of our lives is touched by the politics we play.
At break time, when my champ needs to keep going, he's going to need his favorite snack, containing calcium, iron, and fiber.
Milo Snacks, snack of future champions.
Milo! Chess piece moves. Be kept informed. Watch analysis of major happenings in the political space and how it affects you. Watch Politics on Sunday. Life is politics. In Nigeria, almost every part of our lives is touched by the politics we play. Governance, legislative matters, the economy, security, foreign affairs, internal affairs. Have a feel as strategic plays in the political space determine how we live in Nigeria.
We're glad to have you back. If you're just joining us, you're still watching TVC Breakfast and we're live from our Abuja studio. We have been speaking with a lawyer, Chetam, and we've been talking about the events that have been unfolding in Rivers State and the recent judgment of the Supreme Court. Now, Chetam, if you can hear me, despite the Supreme Court judgment, which is in finality, it does seem as if the status quo prior to the verdict of the Supreme Court has remained the same. What kind of risks does the governor face if he fails to absolutely comply with this Supreme Court judgment?
First of all, like I had said earlier on, the governor first does not have an option. He does not have an option. I'll keep reiterating that. He does not have an option but to obey the decision of the Supreme Court.
But
it is the Supreme Court.
Foot dragging.
Where he fails to obey the judgment of the Supreme Court, then
Okay. I think the issue of option now is on which aspect. Is it on the budget presentation or on the aspect of local government? Who should take charge? Is it the lawmakers? The House of Local Government Chairman whose tenure expired? Is it the one that? So I think.
First off, he has to present the budget to the legitimate House.
Exactly. There's no option. There's no option in that.
Yes, there's already an ultimatum. And since you say that, you know, the budget is already handy, you have presented it to them once. I feel that the governor should just, you know, go back to, if he needs more time, he can go back, you know, to the House and ask for more time. And, you know, it's just maybe a gentleman agreement. It doesn't have to go.
Sometimes you might look at it a bit complicated because as it is now, the governor does not have cabinets.
Of course.
So he will be going to the House of Assembly alone without any...
Well, Chetam, if you can hear me, I don't know if you can finish your thoughts on the last question I asked.
So, like I said, the governor does not have an option but to go back and represent the budget and also obey the orders of the Supreme Court. So the question as to what would be done if the governor fails to obey the judgment of the Supreme Court, then on the strength of that, the House of Assembly can now take up an impeachment proceedings against the governor. It's as simple as that. We have laws in this country, and irrespective of whose ox will be God, the laws of this country has to be obeyed. And if the Supreme Court has given a judgment in this regard, then it has to be also obeyed. Now, because we have these various arms of government to check, to have these checks and balances, to make sure that the exercise of one arm of government is actually curtailed. And we don't have a situation where we have dictatorship in the entire process. So it is quite important that the governor obeys the decisions of the Supreme Court, which the governor has also stated in the state broadcast that he is going to implement the decision of the Supreme Court. Now, what we are dealing with is when.
When? Now just take this, Barrister. When? Now, as it is now, the governor has no cabinet, no commissioners, so he will be going to the House of Assembly without a cabinet. Now, what doctrine of necessity is available to him? Does he require to present names to the House of Assembly to appoint people as special advisors?
No. It is not right to say there is no cabinet as of today. There are commissioners. There are commissioners that didn't join, that didn't resign. Before this whole crisis, there are commissioners that about 4 or 5 of them that didn't resign, that still stuck with the governor.
Sorry, let me just ask this. Were they screened by the Amewele House of Assembly?
Yes, they were. So there are persons still there. And do not also forget, in the absence of a commissioner in a particular ministry, the permanent secretary of the ministry runs the show in the ministry. And the ministry can as well come up with their own budget and submit down to the executive council to add it to what will now become the appropriation bill in the circumstance. So there is no...
Yeah, I think it's interesting to note that there are some of his cabinet members that were screened by the Amewele, so which means the ones that were not screened by the Amewele lawmakers are the ones that will go.
Of course.
So I think we'll need to find out who are those commissioners.
Well, the good thing is
Doctrine
that
of necessity in Rivers State.
Cabinet in place, at least he has some people to work with. The thing is, what is not done according to law, you know, the law is sacrosanct. Yeah. He has to obey the law. First off, is the budget. Whatever is not done under the rightfully recognized assembly does not stand, and the law has already stated that. So I feel the budget right now, because the state cannot operate without a budget, and since the assembly has already asked
I think our guest is back.
Okay.
On the set.
All right. Well, Mr. Chetam, can you hear us?
Loud and clear.
Okay, Mr. Chetam, if you can hear us, let me quickly go to this other issue. As at Monday, the governor said that the House of Assembly, the local government chairman should hand over to local government administrators so that they will take control. But the Amewele House of Assembly ruled against it. Now, what should be the position of the law? Because one group is saying that the House of Assembly chairman, whose tenure expires sometime June 2024, should be the one that will take charge. While the governor's angle is saying, look, there was an election, though nullified, now those guys should hand over. Now, what is the position of the law in this aspect, please?
Truth be told, if we want to be sincere with ourselves, there is no way those persons whose tenure has elapsed would now come back to take over the leadership of the local government council, as it were. It is not possible for them to come back to take over the leadership of the House of Assembly. Now, when you go back to the issue of tenure elongation, which was done by the Martin Amewele-led assembly before this whole crisis, or within this period of the crisis, you also discover, or agree with me, that there was also a court judgment that actually said that that particular action by Martin Amewele was wrong. And also expunged Section 2 of the Rivers State local government laws within that particular judgment. Now, that completely removed the issue of tenure elongation. So in Rivers State, we do not have the issue of tenure elongation. What is proper in the circumstances that is the HLGAs, which happens to be the highest ranking civil servants at the local government level, should naturally take over the administration of the local government. Just like we have talked about the issue of the ministries, where there are no commissioners, the permanent secretaries in charge of each ministry should continue with the leadership of the ministry, as it were. However, you know, the challenge we have is that there are lots of politics going on here. The Supreme Court has also stated clearly that has also abolished caretaker committees for local governments. Exactly. So in circumstances where we do not have elected local government officers, are you now saying that we should go back and bring back people whose tenures has elapsed and restore them back to continue leading us as local government officers? For me, that argument does not actually follow. It does not follow. The natural thing is that the highest ranking civil servant should continue in that particular light as the head of the local government, should continue in the administration of the local government till an election is conducted. Because we cannot be saying that people whose tenure has elapsed should return back and continue with the House of Assembly, with the local government duties as local government chairman. It will be wrong to have to actually do that. Because on what mandate are they standing?
There was an attempt by President Tinubu to offer political solution to the crisis in Rivers State, but Governor Fubara failed to, honor the agreements made or reached, and dismissed the peace deal brokered by by the president as insignificant. Do you agree that this was a turning point where the situation escalated and became difficult to resolve?
Well, beyond that, there are lots of indices playing out in all this, and I think some persons got critical with the reason why we have this situation and that challenge is some persons got critical with the position of the president in that out of the about 8 points that were laid out. Out of the 8 points that were laid, it was about 7 of them was against the governor, seemed to have been against the governor, while just 1 was in favor of the governor in the circumstance. And when you look at it, some persons had raised up the issue of bias with respect to that particular agreement. And the governor also looked at it from that point of view. I haven't looked at it from that point of view.
But it was not coerced to sign. He signed it, which means it was an agreement with the...
Sure.
So why should we insinuate?
Sorry, hold on. Should we be talking about the interest of the governor or the interest of the people of Rivers State? I just want to clarify that.
No. See, this was actually a political solution. And if the governor decides to take that political solution without consulting the people, that becomes his own problem. And when that issue came up, I was one of those who had said that, see, Rivers people are not bound by it. The governor can be bound by it to honor an agreement he has reached with the president and his political mentor. But Rivers people are not bound by whatever agreement they have reached. We are only bound by the laws of this country and nothing more pretentious. That's what we are bound by. So if the governor failed to continue with the agreement he has with the president as well as his political mentor, then that becomes the issue at that particular level. That becomes the issue because it is purely a political issue. It is purely a political issue that has no bearing on Rivers people because Rivers people were not also consulted when they took that political solution. None of them consulted the Rivers people. So for us, whether it became the turning point or not, it is not much of an issue for us. What is an issue for us is that we want a peaceful state. We want them to resolve and get us a working state. Because today the state is not working as it ought to work. And that is where the problem is.
Okay. For the state to work the way Rivers people want it to work, can we also take into consideration what Speaker Mawele said yesterday, that they realize that there are lacunas in the law as to who should be in charge of local government administration now, and they said they're going to make consequential adjustment to that. Now, if such adjustment is made and a tenure or elongation is granted, will it be binding in this instance, considering the fact that the governor has said administrators should take charge?
Sorry, I think I missed a question along the line.
Yeah, the speaker had said that they observe some lacunas in the law and that there's going to be an amendment to it. I think that is in respect of who should be in charge of the local governments. Now, if such amendment is made in the next couple of days, to undo the powers of the governor to give directive for who should be in charge of the local government, how do you think the state will move forward considering that possible resolution by the House?
Now that brings us to the question if those type of laws can act in retrospection. That's a big issue. Can these laws now act in retrospection in the circumstance, in the issue as it were? And if you think that that is actually a lacuna of who will take over the local government administration in December, what has been the practice before now? See, I think at this point, we do not need all these issues. At this point, what we need is for the Rivers State House of Assembly leadership, as well as the governor, to sit down, provide a proper solution to the challenges we have right now in the state, and think of how to conduct a fresh elections. And not this battle, this running battle we are having currently. This running battle is not going to help the state. If a law is being passed that states that the River State and provides that so persons would have to be in charge of the local government where there is nobody, where there are no elected officers of the local government. Now the question is, does that law apply immediately? Having had the type of situation we are having at this point, it will only create further issues for us as a people. It will only create further crisis. And we will now have situations where we will see the burden of councils like we have seen before. So to avoid all these things, I don't think that is the proper channel to go at this point. To avoid these things, I think what is important is for the House of Assembly leadership to look for ways, sit with the governor, and to resolve this issue. Unfortunately, I would have called on some of the elders in Rivers State to intervene in this particular matter as the Supreme Court has given judgment. But as of today, we don't have elders who are unbiased. All the elders in Rivers State today are biased. They have all taken sides. So those who would have naturally called them to order can no longer call them to order because they have all taken position in this crisis. And this position has not also helped us. So we are in a delicate position right now.
Well, following the judgment of the Supreme Court, Governor Fubara stated that the worst possible outcome would be his removal from office. He emphasized that this would not affect his existence as a human being or his presence on earth. Could this be a premonition of what is to come?
Well, you see, one of the things I'm trying to do, I'm trying not to preempt the governor and also speak on behalf of any of the parties, as it were, because truth be told, but if you look at things naturally, that is the worst thing that can happen, that the governor leaves office. And of course, there are various ways of him leaving office. Either he decides to resign, or he's been impeached along the line, or probably natural causes and all that. But, you know, that is in the entire situation, that is the worst that can happen in this particular circumstance. But the decision lies both in the hands of the governor and in the House of Assembly, and also in the hand of God. There are three factors in play here now as to how the governor would leave office. But you see, these issues in Rivers State are issues that could be resolved. It is just that I think the parties are so angry with themselves that they are not willing to resolve these issues. But these issues are issues that could be resolved one way or the other. And supporters of these various politicians are also fanning the embers. To me, I have said it before, that none of these players have the interest of Rivers people at heart. None. Even if they claim to have the interest of Rivers people at heart, none of these players have the interest of Rivers people at heart. Because if they have the interest of Rivers people at heart, they will do things differently. And they are all politicians. Let's not also forget that these same people came together, worked against Rivers State for 8 years under the Wike's administration. We saw that happen in Rivers State. And if today they are quarreling, it is the same Rivers people who are suffering from it. Rivers people are suffering from it. And for us, it doesn't naturally make sense. So that's why we are saying that the best possible solution at this point, since they have previously worked as a family, they should look for a solution to work together, and let's have a running budget so that salaries are not stopped, people do not suffer.
Okay, Barrister Chetam, I think the issue of the budget is not too much of a debate. The governor will present the budget, I want to assume. But talking about the elders in Rivers State, you say as at now, all the elders have taken sides. So it might be difficult to have elders to resolve this. But if we also look at this, it's like a proxy war that has the governor and the minister of FCT that are involved. Those are the major gladiators in this instance. And if you take a critical look at it, they are all from the same political party. Now, is it possible? Take a look at what happened in Lagos State. The party came in and helped to resolve what was like a crisis that would tear down the state. Where is the PDP in all this game? Can this be resolved by the political parties? Because there must be a solution somewhere.
The truth be told, that the PDP as present constituted today cannot resolve the crisis in Rivers State. The crisis in Rivers State as at today is even part of the reason PDP is divided at the national level. So you see, it is not possible for Rivers State, for PDP to resolve the crisis in Rivers State. That was why, in the first instance, they had to run to the president to help resolve the issues. So the PDP, as at today, you know, there is a faction of the wicked faction in the PDP. There is the Bala Mohammed Atiku and the Governor Sim faction in also the PDP. And you see the strike in the PDP today that has further weakened the PDP as the leading opposition in the country has its own link to this Rivers State crisis. So if at the national level, this crisis is there in the PDP, how then do they solve these issues at the state level? So the party itself has failed. The party itself is ineffective. The party itself cannot help us in this situation. The only solution, and see, let me tell you how bad it is in Rivers State. Even religious leaders are part of this crisis. The religious leaders who are supposed to naturally resolve these issues using the episcopalhood or whatever it is to resolving these issues are also part of these issues because some of them have also taken sides.
Well, Mr. Chetam, those remain allegations until verified. But I would like to take you back to a statement you made in October 2023. You once alleged that the refusal of Governor Fubara to remit 25% of the state's allocation to Nyesom Wike, his predecessor, caused the ongoing face-off. You also have not been able to substantiate this claim. But with the current judgment of the Supreme Court, has your opinion changed?
The truth be told, I have stated that, and has that statement been debunked? The statement in question has not been debunked. And until they debunk the statement, the statement in question has not been debunked.
But have you proven it on your own part? What proof do you have of that?
Beyond the House of Assembly issues, there are other issues that also led to the current crisis in Rivers State. Beyond the House of Assembly issues, the House of Assembly issues is just a small part of the issues that has led to this issue in Rivers State. It's just a small part. In short, it's just what we see in the public face. But the main issues is between the governor and the minister of the FCT. It is between the governor and the minister of the FCT. And it is until the both of them reach an agreement that the House of Assembly will follow suit. Of course, like in Lagos, we saw all the fight between the two factions of the House of Assembly. It was until those who actually own Lagos, in quotes now, those who actually own Lagos and control the system in Lagos, the House of Assembly in Lagos, waded in, that we saw that issue resolved. And until these two gladiators resolve at this point, that is when we can see that the Rivers State crisis would be resolved. Else, if they do not come together to agree on anything, nothing will be resolved in Rivers State, even if the issue of House of Assembly is settled today.
Okay. Barrister, let's look at this aspect also, Barrister. Sorry, Barrister. I think what is primary to Rivers people is that there must be peace. I also recall that during elections, we do have the peace committee headed by former head of state Absalami Abubakar and Bishop Martin Kuka. Now, if they play a role during election, and we have this crisis on our hands that traditional rulers, according to you, religious leaders, and even political leaders in Rivers State are all partisan, should this peace committee also help to help broker peace for the sake of the Rivers people?
The problem is not having a peace committee.
Yeah, I was just thinking that there is no problem without a solution. So if the president made an attempt, it backfired, and all the known leaders in the state cannot, maybe we should call on Absalom Abubakar.
I guess it's alleged that all of them seem to have taken sides.
So Absalom Abubakar and Father Coker.
Even the president himself tried to intervene.
Exactly.
Are you saying that the president has also taken sides?
That's what I'm saying. Since it broke down, so we must explore other means.
All right. Chetam, I guess you're back. You can hear us.
Like there's any...
Yes,
You are claiming that, you know, everybody in this matter seems to have taken sides. But I want to know, you know, lawyers in Rivers State, the elders, like you mentioned, politicians, personal advisors of the Rivers State governor have been criticized for misleading the governor into believing he can continue governing without consulting other authorized bodies or institutions that complement the executive branch, as mandated by the Constitution. As a lawmaker, as a lawyer yourself, without sounding defensive, do you believe your colleagues, you know, bear responsibility in this matter?
I will tell you that not just my colleague, the entire judiciary played a role in escalating this matter. Okay. Because what we saw in Rivers State is really, in short, some of us had raised alarm over what the judiciary was, how the judiciary contributed in fueling this matter. Because the issue of orders and counter orders from courts of coordinate jurisdiction became embarrassing at some point. It became very embarrassing at some point because the role of the judiciary, and let me tell you, lawyers are not also helping the matter. Seriously. Lawyers are giving different interpretation for different reasons to fuel the crisis in Rivers State. And especially some respected senior advocates of this country who will go on TV, analyze issues that are not. They also did not help to resolve this issue. They helped to fuel this matter in the states.
But they said the law is an ass.
The entire legal profession cannot be completely exonerated from the crisis in the state because everybody is telling, and let me tell you, politicians, they just want to hear what would favor them. So lawyers have also found a way of telling them what would favor them, not what the law says in the circumstance.
So you're saying now that the governor was wrongly advised. Are you affirming that?
No, what parties? What parties? You would streamline to the governor, just the governor. I will tell you that even those of them with the minister, as well as those of them with the governor, there were times that the advice given out to the both parties were wrong and was not even in the best interest of the state. So we cannot just say it is only the governor that was wrongly advised. So if we are saying that the governor was wrongly advised, are we saying that all the minister has done within this period are all correct? We won't be correct if we actually say that. Because the minister has also taken certain decisions that is not in the best interest of Rivers State and that has also affected Rivers State today. So it is important that we make this clear and for everyone to know.
Mr. Chetam, it was nice talking to you. We'll definitely keep an eye to see how the events unfold in Rivers State in the coming days. We hope that, you know, the governor is able to broker peace, you know, and do the right thing in the interest of the people of Rivers State. Thank you so much for talking to us, Chetam Nwala Tiari.
Thank you, and God bless you.
Well, that's it from us here.